Okay guys, I'm making a video today, or actually yesterday, but I'm adding a little opener to it. And I'm talking about the buyer relationship building that I've done for years. I've gotten quite a few questions, a couple emails basically saying, I might have a problem buying, or, how do you afford to buy, or all those things. And let me just start by telling you, I'm on a fixed budget. Okay, I don't make a ton of money. I've got a big family. We don't have extras. Okay, so what I do is just over the years I decided that I am gonna buy comics. So you give up some other things. We don't have a lot of fancy things at home. My wife and I, you wouldn't know it from looking at this room, but we're minimalists. We really don't have very much. We've got a healthy sized house, but when you walk room to room, there's, they're all comfortable, but there's not a lot in it. Neither one of us is into knickknacks or things. There's no clutter. There's we have chairs and tables and couches and things, but there's not a lot. And that we give up because of, that's who we are. But there's always ways to sacrifice. When I did Weight Watchers years ago, I didn't want to exercise and I didn't want to give up sweets, so I ate a candy bar every single day and I just made room for it. And that's kind of how I've treated the comic collection over the years is, I have a fixed amount of money to work with. It's not an overabundance. So these buyer networks are something that I found, I don't pay retail very often for comic books. When I go to a Comic-Con, I was just talking to a person emailing that, I might go to a big Comic-Con and spend my whole time, sometimes multiple days at the same booth. If I find a winner, I'm sticking with that winner. Well, the buyer relationships I've set up, I found that there's people that really don't know about comics, they don't care about comics, and if I can educate them that they're not going to bring me, junk that I have 10 copies of, then that's a win-win relationship. They get to make a little more money. And if you think about it, if someone pays, let's say $25 for a box of comics, and whether that comic box is worth $25 or $125, if they're doubling their money and they're doing it in multiple ways, and they've got the bailout that if they do hit a big one, someone's there to help them, well, that's my idea of a win-win. So there's lots of ways to skin a cat and be fair and build relationships so that everyone wins, and that's what this video is really about. Okay, it's not about taking advantage of someone. It's about working within your certain set of circumstances and finding a way to to still build your collection. I will give you the caveat that if you do build these relationships and someone's bringing you stuff and you're just not buying, that relationship's going to go away. Okay, and so have space, because as you can see, it builds over time, and the vast majority of what I have didn't come from paying retail in LCS. Okay, well, I guess maybe a lot of it did over the years, but then I evolved. Okay, hope you guys enjoy. Hello YouTube, this is Silver Age Dave. Today I'm making a quick video. Today is Tuesday. Great day, and I want to make a video. I'm going to expand on a topic. Last week I put out a video and I was talking about comic book buyers, and I have a number of great people that I've met over the years that are for lack of a better term, I think is very well known as pickers. We watch American Pickers, and who doesn't like those guys? Well, there are people in life, I'm probably one of them. I live sometimes for going to garage sales and estate sales and, digging through back bins and looking for treasures. I just love that stuff. I love treating people right, but I love that hunt. And I've got 6 kids, I've got a business, I've got some other things going on, and I just don't find myself in position to be at these sales, lining up an hour before an estate sale opens, or going to flea markets, and frankly, for lack of better description, I just don't have the time. And I know there are great things out there. I know that I have the knowledge to know what's out there, but I just don't have the time to always put myself in position. So Years ago, I came into contact with some people that love the thrill of the hunt. They're going to be at these sales no matter what's there. That's what they love doing. I have very dear friends that do that, and they're there because they love that hunt. And you know, in a lot of cases, they don't care if they're hunting an antique or an old record, or maybe they're hunting down Longaberger baskets or precious moments, or they just don't care. That's just part of them, is they love to be in that situation. So what I found was that if someone brings me comic books and they say, "Oh, I wish I knew more about comic books," it's no different than my situation right now with YouTube. The part of this that I'm really enjoying is the community. And I have no problem sharing tips or thoughts, anyone who's been at this a long time, you know, this information doesn't come cheap. It doesn't come easy. There's no one out there, other than family sometimes, or a dear friend. There's no one out there who's giving away free, experience. And so, maybe I fall a little different, but in this community, there's a lot of people that are giving away that information. Well, what I did years ago is, before I ever knew about YouTube, is I found people that are in position to get those great deals, but didn't know or really care about comic books. And so what I do is I extend an offer to them. It's not a contract. It's not an obligation. It's not... we're not putting it in writing that you buy the comics and bring them to me and then I'm going to, pay nothing for them. I'm going to teach them. I'm going to teach them about comics. As you can imagine, some of the topics come very slowly. Some of them come over time. But I'm going to share my knowledge. And sometimes these things are a couple of, I'm not even going to call them lessons, but a couple of sessions, whatever. I walk them through my room. We look at some long boxes. We talk about what the Grail books are, and what are good investments for them, and what are not good investments. That's really what they're looking for. Is they don't want to make mistakes, and most importantly, they don't want to miss something, and they don't want to overpay. Okay, it's just like us, but they're not otherwise going to put forth the time to learn about the hobby. They don't. You can't really go to a LCS and learn all this stuff. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm talking, I'm going to flip through some books, and I'm talking about one specific buyer right now. But he came to me. I'm releasing a video tomorrow that's going to have one of the books I bought, and I overpaid for it, but I'm building a relationship. That's what I'm doing. This is this first little group here. This is a group of books that I bought. I showed them last week, and the video a lot of guys asked, "Hey, tell me more." But I want to point out these two books. This one I had listed that I paid $20. This one I had listed that I paid $15. Okay, and we all know this is a good deal for $20. I got a good deal here. But this book is a $2 book. This particular person, Dave, another Dave in the world, right? Dave got mixed up with a guy who's a comic collector, and the comic collector told him this was a $50 book. So Dave paid $48 for this comic book, okay? And he had a guy he thought he could trust, and the guy was just digging pretty deep. He really overpaid for, this whole stack of comics and a bunch more. But what I did was I call it a little bit of a, an investment in Dave, that, some of the books I got a little better deal. Some of the books I really, it's foolish of me to pay $15 for this. It's not worth anything. But I want to help him out. The relationship has to start somewhere. So what I'm providing is I'm basically providing an education on the books. When he brings a stack of books into me, I'm going to go through every single book. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so I'm just going to grab this particular stack that we've already gone through. I'm going to try to find what we've already gone through. And basically he brought me another stack of books, and I overpaid for this stack, but I'm using it as a teachable lesson. So I'm going to teach him about stuff. One of the first pieces of advice I gave him was, hey, this guy you're mixed up with, you think you're building a relationship, but as soon as you're not paying 3 or 4 times what a comic's worth, that relationship's going to end. And so this past weekend, I got this great text string from him. He asked me about the price of a book, and I gave him my 2 cents on it. And I didn't have a price guide with me, but I said, hey, I'll get to a price guide and I'll get you back. He said, you don't have to do that. I appreciate it, Dave. Thanks. He's trying to take me. He won't take anything less than $75. And I thought it was a $20 comic at best. And he said, I think I'm done dealing with him. And I said, good decision. Same guy, I assume. He said, yes. I said, I'm happy to teach you more about buying. You already learned a great lesson. All of us learned the hard way. Talk to you soon. And he thanked me for that. And then, you know, he went out hunting this past weekend, and we got together, and basically that's this stack I bought. And he just invited me this weekend to go with him and his wife to a Comic-Con so I could really show him around in real world. And I can't do that. So we're actually going to get together this week to go to a just a little flea market, I think maybe Thursday or Friday. And so I could show him real world hunting, and I could talk to him about a con. Because we all know there's booths you want to spend time at. There's booths where you're just going to throw money away, even if you know what you're doing. And so I got to teach him how to spot those things and what to look for. But these are books I bought. I paid a ton for these. Every book you're looking at, I way overpaid. And basically this stack, I gave him $160. And I normally don't talk about money, but I want to let you guys know how important this relationship is to me, that I'm going to overinvest up front. I'm going to give you know, these buyers a situation that they can't get too hurt. Okay, now he overpaid for this stack too, and I told him, hey, I can't buy everything from you. I gave him, in addition to the 160, I gave him a bunch of long boxes. They were old but in good shape. I gave him a bunch of bagging and boarding stuff, so he knew the difference between, you know, current and silver, and the different boards. So I taught him a little about that. And now when he goes out hunting, he's got a better basis of things to look for, and things to do, and maybe the mistakes not to make. We talk a lot about condition, you know, so I show him, I'm going to try to focus in, about things like this, okay? You know, from 5 feet away, this looks like an awesome comic you could spend more money on and still be okay. But when we get up close and personal, we know that there's some stuff in here that are just flaws that, you know, a rookie might say, oh, I can make money on that. But the reality is these books on eBay, you're really asking for trouble. So I'm going to give these guys, you know, everything I have. I'm going to invest everything in the relationship. I'm going to teach them about comics. And let's face it, if you love comics, you love talking about comics. I love seeing comics. I love feeling the comics and smelling the comics and everything about them. But that information can stay locked up in my head, or I can share it. And so here, I'm choosing to start these relationships in a generous manner. If I have a buyer that goes out and they just overdo it, then, you know, I don't have unlimited money. I'm not a lottery winner or anything like that. But I'm going to bail them out sometimes, and there's going to come a time later where, you know what, they're gonna find a great deal, and I'm going to tell them, hey, here's what it's worth. I know what you bought it for because I'm the guy that kind of taught you, and here's what I'd like to pay for it. Okay, and later on down the road, these buyers are not in, you know, they're not in contract to me. I don't get first look unless they call me and say, hey, I scored. But my experience has been these guys are real proud. You know, they come back, not because they have to come back, but they, you know, it's just like, I don't know if anyone ever had a coach growing up or a teacher growing up, and you want to go back and you want to say, hey, thank you. Look what I did. Look what I accomplished. And those coaches and teachers, they weren't expecting anything from me when I went back. I was just happy to thank them. But in these cases, there is a business side of it. They want to sell comics. And they know I'm not going to leave them out there hanging. If they go a little deep, I'm going to give them a little bit of a bail in the moment. And if they get something that's a good score and it appeals to me, then I think, in my experience, most of them want to come back and they want to take care of me. And you know, the goal in this, every single time I enter into these relationships, my goal is that they're going to bring me a book I can't afford. and they have just hit big time. Like, look at this book. It says $30 on it. Now, I haven't researched this Spider-Man Annual 12, but I'm guessing in this condition, you know, that was way overpaid for, or someone just, you know, had a delusion. But I'll research it. Maybe I'm wrong. So, you know, my goal is that they bring me a book that I can't afford. And trust me, I'm going to try to buy it for an amount I can afford if they'll have it. But in a lot of cases, someone brings in something big, and I'm going to guide them on how to list it on eBay. I'm going to grade it for them. I'm going to get it bagged and boarded the right way, and I'm going to help them along. And then what I do share with them is if you do hit it big because of something I taught you or because something I helped you with freely, then I would hope that somewhere down the line you're going to score. You're going to have that big score, and you know, not necessarily one big book, but you're going to hit a big collection someday, and you'll come in and maybe you give me those at cost, or let me buy them for what you paid. You know, again, it's not a contract. It's not something they have to do, but hopefully that's the win-win relationship. Those are what drive me. So on that initial video I put out last week or the week before, I forget, I talked about comic buyers, and I don't know if I said it in a way that everyone can appreciate, but if you are in an economic position, you know, I'm always buying from these guys. If you're in an economic position to handle that type of thing, I would encourage you. If you're at a sale and you see someone who's just buying antiques, talk to them for a minute. They'll love talking to you. And they will love having an outlet because they are in position that they're the first one to get to some sale and find that box of comics for 20 bucks. And if they know, hey, I have an outlet and I can't get hurt, you know, they might not make $100 on that deal, but if they know every single time, I know what to look for and I know the things that you know, that Silver likes, well, they're more likely to buy that. And that's what they love doing. And over the course of that relationship, they're going to learn a lot about something that they never would have learned about before. And quite frankly, I'm going to learn, because we all know, or hopefully we all know, the best way to become an expert at something is by teaching it. You know, repetitively, you go over it, time and time again, and it makes you better. So that's my story on comic buyers, okay? I can expand further. If people want more of a story, I can tell you about other buyers that are out there, other friends, and other relationships, but ultimately, that's what it's about, is win-win. I don't enter these things expecting anything. I've had people over the years that I've taught quite a bit that I don't really hear from anymore, and that's okay. I can be bitter about that, or I could say, hey, I really enjoyed them, and I enjoyed the time we spent, and I wish them the best, but I'm not giving up on anyone else. Someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to learn something about something, and I'm able to help them, then I want to do that, okay? So I'm going to leave off today, and I'm going to not go back to the Silver Age Dave logo. I'm going to end here with one of my greatest teachers of all time, okay, and a funny little quote. This is one of my original cards from when I was a kid, but hey, anytime you get the chance to be a teacher, have the heart of the teacher, and don't expect anything in return. Teaching in itself is the greatest reward, in my opinion. So with that, this is Silver, and I am out.